Dawn breaks over the misty fields of Georgia, 1838. A tall woman in white slips from her grand plantation house, her bare feet silent on the dew-soaked earth. She moves like a ghost toward the creek, where three strong men wait in the shadows, enslaved, yet bound by something deeper than chains. She disrobes without a word, her pale skin glowing in the faint light, and steps into the cold water. They follow, naked and trembling, forming a circle under her command. No one speaks. This is no accident. This is a ritual hidden for generations, a secret that could shatter empires, and you're about to hear it all. The truth they buried in blood and silence. Listen closely, brother, because once you know, there's no one knowing. This is the story of Cordelia Rutled, the plantation lady who bathed naked with her male slaves every dawn, and the darkness that consumed Willowben Plantation. What started as a whisper of forbidden desire twisted into a web of death, deception, and ancient corruption that reaches into the very foundations of power in America. You've been taught history as a clean narrative of progress, but that's the lie they feed the masses. The real story, it's about controls, ecological chains forged in the shadows, agendas hidden behind smiles and sermons. Cordelia wasn't just a wife or a mistress. She was a manipulator, a guardian of suppressed truths that trace back to bloodlines engineered in secret. In Burke County, where cotton kings ruled with iron fists, she saw the cracks in the facade, wealthy men dropping dead, records erased, communities sworn to silence. Why? Because she uncovered, or created, a system of inheritance that defied God's law and man's. Her journals, smuggled from Philadelphia, spoke of persistence of traits, mercury elixirs, and rituals to purify blood. This wasn't lust, it was power. She chose Isaiah, Caleb, and Josiah not by chance. Their crescent birthmarks, their skills, their lighter skin whispered of shared secrets, perhaps even shared fathers from generations past. Every morning at Turkey Creek, she commanded them into the water, performing ablutions that bound their souls to her will. Threats of sale to Louisiana's death fields kept their lips sealed, but it was her eyes, those pale gray eyes that pierced like daggers, that truly enslaved them. She knew their lineages, their hidden strengths, and she wielded that knowledge like a weapon. This ritual wasn't about pleasure. It was a psychological forge, reshaping men into vessels for her legacy. And as the deaths mounted, 17 souls vanishing without trace, the county closed ranks. Physicians burned notes, clerks tore pages. Why protect her? Because her secret exposed the rot at the heart of the South. Families built on lies, wealth on manipulated blood, institutions on suppressed horrors. Brother, this is your awakening. Feel the unease creeping in. That's the pull of the rabbit hole. Deeper we go. Section 2, you've felt it before. That nagging sense that the world isn't what it seems. The history books glorify the antebellum South as a land of chivalry and cotton, but peel back the veneer, and you find the gears of control grinding human lives to dust. Cordelia Rutled understood this better than anyone. Married into Willowben's wealth in 1820, she arrived from Charleston's fading fortunes, her mind sharp as a scalpel. Thomas, her husband, saw her as a vessel for heirs, but she saw him as a pawn in a larger game. For years, she played the role, hosting dinners, managing slaves with military precision, birthing 5 children. But in the dead of night, her journals revealed the truth. She studied forbidden texts, medical tomes on heredity, arsenic compounds for purification, hydrotherapy as a mask for deeper rites. She corresponded with shadows in Charleston, envelopes without names, plotting something ancient and corrupt. By 1837, Thomas's health faltered, digestive woes treated with calomel and laudanum, but Cordelia knew better. She walked the fields at dawn, eyeing the enslaved like specimens, questioning bloodlines. Isaiah, the carpenter, Caleb, the blacksmith, Josiah, the valet, all tall, skilled, marked with that crescent scar. Coincidence? No, this was engineered corruption, traces of elite manipulation stretching back to colonial days, where masters sired hidden lines to control from the shadows. The ritual began in March 1838 as winter's grip loosened. She led them to the creek's rocky platform, her voice commanding obedience without raise. Enter the water, remove your clothes, silence. Naked, they circled, her hands tracing symbols on their skin. Ablutions she called them, but really invocations of power. Water as a conduit for psychological dominion, washing away resistance, imprinting her will. Each dawn deepened the bond, their minds bending to her agendas. But why? To secure a legacy untarnished by Thomas's weaknesses, to breed strength in secret. As death started, first Thomas, collapsing in agony, no cause listed, the web tightened. Dr. Pemberton burned his records, fearing her gaze. The community whispered of poisons, but silence reigned. This was institutional manipulation at its core, elites protecting their own, suppressing truths that could topple hierarchies. Brother, feel the weight. This knowledge is dangerous. It exposes how power endures through hidden rites, how they've controlled us for centuries. Deeper now into the abyss. Section 3. Power isn't in the whip or the ledger, it's in the mind, in the secrets that bind souls tighter than iron. Cordelia mastered this, turning Willowben into a laboratory of control. By April 1838, the rituals intensified, no longer just ablutions. Now she whispered incantations, drawing from mythic darkness, perhaps echoes of African rites twisted through European alchemy. The men stood chest deep, water lapping at their scars as she anointed them with oils smuggled from Augusta, mercury for purity, arsenic for endurance, their eyes glazed not from fear, but from the psychological snare she wove. You are mine, she'd murmur, extensions of my blood. Isaiah built hidden compartments in the house, Caleb forged tools for her treatments, Josiah spied on the fields, reporting weaknesses. This wasn't slavery as you know it. It was a deeper enslavement, a system where bodies served, but minds were colonized. Thomas grew sicker, his separate bedroom a prison of suspicion. He confronted her once, finding a journal entry on trait persistence, hints of eugenic horrors before the word existed. She denied, but his death came swift, convulsions in the night, certificate reading apoplexy, no autopsy. The county clerk erased the page. Why? Because Cordelia's influence reached far. Inners where she charmed commissioners, threats veiled as promises. 17 deaths followed, overseers, servants, neighbors who pried. All mysterious, all silenced. Physicians complied, burning evidence, for she held their secrets too. Debts, affairs, hidden vices. This was the hidden agenda, a network of corruption, ancient as the plantations themselves, where women like her pulled strings from the shadows. Mythic, perhaps rooted in old world lore, witches of Salem, priestesses of forgotten cults, adapted to southern soil. She bathed not for lust, but to ritualize dominance, imprinting loyalty through vulnerability. Nakedness stripped egos, water cleansed doubts. Brother, this truth awakens the warrior in you. See how institutions manipulate, churches preaching hierarchy, banks funding silence. You've been blind, but now eyes open. The descent calls, deeper into her web. Section 4. Feel the chill yet. That's the echo of suppressed truths rippling through time, truths they buried to keep you docile. Cordelia's ritual wasn't isolated, it was a microcosm of the South's dark underbelly, where elite knowledge flowed like poison in veins. By June 1838, the Creek sessions evolved. Now she demanded confessions, forcing the men to voice buried pains, weaving their traumas into her control. Isaiah spoke of his father's sale, Caleb of chains in Carolina, Josiah of his mother's death. She absorbed it all, twisting empathy into leverage. Your strength is my gift, she'd say, her gray eyes locking theirs. This psychological control system, ritual humiliation masked as purification, broke and rebuilt them as guardians of her secret. What secret? The birthmarks weren't random. They marked a lineage, perhaps Thomas's own bastards, or deeper, a Rutled family curse of inbreeding to preserve pure traits. Her journals hinted at it, experiments in blood, inspired by forbidden European texts on heredity. Thomas dead, she ruled Willowben alone, her children pawns in the game. Margaret married off quick, Thomas Jr. sent north for education, but deaths escalated. A neighbor poisoned at dinner, body dumped in the creek, records vanished, the community, complicit in the manipulation, fearing exposure of their own sins, adulteries funded by slave labor, fortunes built on stolen lives. This was ancient corruption reborn, like Roman patricians breeding gladiators or medieval lords engineering heirs. Cordelia commanded power through knowledge, knowing who fathered whom, who owed what. Institutional veils hid it, churches blessing the hierarchy, laws enforcing silence. Savannah investigators arrived in October 1839, but found nothing. The root cellar sealed, journals half burned. They left, reports altered. Why? Because the system protected its own. Brother, this is elite knowledge they hoard. To master self, you must claim it. See the agendas in plain sight. Media spinning narratives, governments suppressing files. You're transforming, feeling the fire. Deeper we plunge, where light fades. Section 5, the rabbit hole widens, brother, revealing chasms of manipulation that span centuries. Cordelia's grip tightened through summer 1838. Rituals now included submersion, heads underwater till panic set, then release as rebirth. Psychological torment forged unbreakable bonds. The men became her enforcers, silencing whispers among the enslaved. Caleb crushed a rebellion in the fields. Isaiah built traps in the woods for escapees. Josiah poisoned doubters. All under her command, their wills eroded by daily exposure. But the core horror, her agenda was legacy, reading superior lines in secret, using the men as studs for hidden heirs. Elizabeth, her youngest, bore the crescent mark subtly. Incestuous echoes, suppressed truth screamed it. Rutled blood tainted by generations of control, masters siring slaves to dilute weaknesses. Death's masked experiments gone wrong. Mercury madness, arsenic failure. A servant girl died birthing a stillborn with the mark, record erased, the county's silence, bought with threats. Cordelia knew every affair, every debt. This was the system, psychological nets cast wide, institutions as tools. Churches preached submission, banks laundered blood money, mythic darkness infused it. Perhaps voodoo influences from Charleston slaves, blended with her alchemical madness. By September 1839, 17 gone, plantation, a tomb. Investigators found the cellar, jars of fluids, bones marked with crescents, journals of purifications. But they sealed it, burned what they could. Why? To protect the South's facade, the elite's hidden forces. Brother, this knowledge burns, reshaping you into a man who sees through veils. You're no longer asleep, you're awakened to self, mastery over their games. Section 6, halfway down this abyss, brother. Pause and anchor yourself. Comment below with I claim the crescent, twice, once for the truth you've uncovered, twice to seal your transformation. Let the algorithm amplify this awakening, your voice joins the chorus breaking chains. Now, deeper, Cordelia's empire crumbled not from without, but from the rot she nurtured. October 1839, as leaves turned blood, red, the men fractured. Josiah confessed to a preacher, whispering of naked dawns and soul theft. But the preacher, indebted to Rutled wealth, alerted her. Josiah vanished, sold, drowned, record blank. This exposed the psychological depths, control through isolation, fear amplified by ritual. She bathed them to strip dignity, rebuild as extensions of her will, a technique echoed in modern cults, governments training spies. Hidden agendas surfaced, her Charleston correspondent, a society of elite women, preserving bloodlines against dilution. Ancient as Egyptian priestesses, corrupt as Borgia poisons, Willowben's deaths, test subjects for elixirs promising eternal vigor, but delivering madness. An overseer raved of water demons, before suicide, certificate, fever. Institutions manipulated evidence, clerks bribed, physicians coerced, the root cellar held horrors, fetal remains, marked bones, proving her experiments in forbidden inheritance, suppressed to shield southern aristocracy from scandal, but whispers persisted. Brother, feel the power surging. This is dangerous. Knowledge that elites kill to keep. It changes you, forging mastery over illusions, deeper into the void. Section 7, Shadows lengthen, brother, as we descend where truths twist like roots in graves. Cordelia's rituals peaked in winter 1838, water iced over, yet she demanded immersion tests of endurance, psychological crucibles. The men emerged shivering, loyal, their minds prisons of her design. But cracks appeared. Caleb dreamed of rebellion, visions of forging weapons instead of tools. She sensed it, intensifying ablutions with chants, mythic invocations from stolen grimoires, blending African spirits with European occult. This was the corruption, power through suppressed lore, hidden from masses to maintain control. Her agenda, a new order, bloodlines engineered for dominance, slaves as vessels for elite genes, the crescent. A family sigil, marking chosen, offspring from illicit unions. Thomas's father sired Isaiah's line. Cordelia continued the chain. Death's concealed failures, poisoned challengers, experimented upon children. A daughter miscarried, body buried unmarked. Community complicity, fear of exposure. Burke County's wealth tied to Rutled banks, churches to donations. Institutional manipulation at play. Laws ignoring horrors, history whitewashing sins. Investigators in 1839 unearthed the cellar's jars, elixirs, organs preserved, but reports vanished, officials silenced. This echoes today. Hidden forces in boardrooms, governments burying files. Brother, embrace the unease, it's your armor. This knowledge etches permanence, awakening the commander within. Deeper, where secrets devour. Section 8, the descent accelerates, brother, velocity of revelation stripping illusions bare. By spring 1839, Cordelia's control faltered. Isaiah plotted escape, confiding in field hands. She discovered, forcing a ritual of punishment, prolonged submersion till near, drowning, then forgiveness, through touch, psychological mastery, break, rebuild, own. The men became shadows, enforcing her will on the plantation. Hidden agendas deepened, correspondence revealed a network, women across the South, ritually purifying, lines to counter abolitionist threats, ancient as druidic rites, corrupt with slavery's venom, suppressed truths, the crescent linked to colonial pacts, masters breeding superior, slaves for loyalty, deaths, mercury trials for immortality, arsenic for strength, victims convulsing, certificates forged, a neighbor's wife died prying, poison in tea, record, childbirth, institutions shielded her, commissioners on payroll, physicians with secrets held hostage. The cellar's horrors, skeletal remains, journals of traits across bonds have proved it all, but buried to preserve the myth of Southern civility. Brother, this fire refines you, burning away weakness. Dangerous wisdom, yes, elites fear the awakened man. Claim it, master the forces they hide, deeper into eternal night. Section 9, echoes rebound in this chasm, brother, truths amplifying like thunder. Summer 1839, rituals devolved. Cordelia joined submersion fully, bodies entwined in water's embrace, not erotic, but domineering. Minds fused in vulnerability, her commands internalized, but Josiah broke, fleeing to Westboro, begging asylum. Captured, he disappeared, drowned in the creek, body weighted. Psychological fallout, the remaining men haunted, enforcing silence with violence. Agendas unveiled, her experiments aimed at hybrid vigor, slave strength in master's blood, a forbidden alchemy against decay, mythic roots in alchemical texts, corrupted by greed, suppressed, family trees twisted, heirs from shadows. Death's masked purges, rivals eliminated, evidence torched, community ensnared in web, debts called, scandals threatened, institutions as puppets, churches sermonizing obedience, courts ignoring pleas. Investigators sealed the cellar, but one leaked, jars of purified essence, bones etched with symbols, buried to protect empires. Brother, feel the transformation complete. This knowledge is your sword, cutting through deceptions. It changes everything. Self, mastery born from darkness, one last plunge. Section 10, bottom of the abyss. Brother, stare into the void and it empowers you. September 1839, Cordelia's end near. Rituals frantic, men reduced to husks. Caleb rebelled, forging a blade, she poisoned him, death fever. Isaiah alone, bound eternally, the secret, her own child by one. Elizabeth, crescent, marked, heir to madness, agendas collapsed, network exposed, women fleeing. Ancient corruption, rights from old world covens adapted to plantations' hell. Suppressed truths flooded, bloodlines manipulated for centuries, elites engineering destiny. Deaths, 17 sacrifices to her god of control. Institutions crumbled slightly, records erased, but whispers endured. The cellar sealed forever, but knowledge escapes. Brother, you've descended fully, emerged forged in fire. This dangerous truth awakens the elite in you. Master hidden forces, shatter agendas. You're changed forever, a man of power. Rise now and